The Elixir Pump managed to stay broken throughout the entirety of 2016 because not only did it cost 5 Elixir, but it had enough HP to survive a lightning and spare some HP. In fact, the card was so overpowered it was used as a defensive building and it was a part of every single deck. And pairing it with Mirror was not a problem at all because you needed more Elixir. So this card, you couldn't get any sort of positive elixir trade from it, even a whole rocket. No, you just got a -2 trade, my friend. So, Clash Royale opted to nerf its HP by 20% alongside some other nerfs, but that only made its usage rate go up from around 27% before the game went global to 88% until they decided to make it 6 Elixir, which made it go back at a 9% usage rate. In March 2017, we got a support card so broken it was played as a win condition, the Night Witch. Not only did she hit as hard as a mini P.E.K.K.A. and could take a whole tower on her own, but she summoned 4 bats upon death. So, good luck dealing with those. We're not here to talk about the golem beatdown meta that resulted from this card. We're here to talk about the Night Witch mirror clone meta. Yes, Night Witch was so broken, she made clone viable. In fact, the strategy, as you can see, was just to put Night Witch, Ice Golem, maybe Clone, and then Rage. You might say, well, Poison. Well, guess what? Poison back then couldn't even one-shot bats. So, you were stuck with this extremely overwhelming push that was, almost impossible to shut down. And despite how rare legendaries were in 2017, she peaked at a 41% usage rate. So, Clash Royale nerfed her so hard she became the most useless card back then. If you think recruits are toxic, look at them in 2018. They were 6 Elixir, that's right. There were people using Pump, Mirror, and Recruits. In fact, the whole meta revolved around them. Decks that included Valkyrie and Bomb Tower surged in popularity, although they weren't enough to shut down the Recruits. And though Clash Royale League was approaching, aka Championship. So what did Clash Royale do? Well, they opted to nerf them in July 2018. So what did they do? They increased their elixir cost by 2 whole elixir added to 1 card, and they died. Do you notice anything weird about this picture? Well, Mirror got buffed by giving +2 levels. This was in April 2022. Results weren't immediate, but later, players started spamming Mirror Earthquake. The strategy was simple: make an extremely defensive deck and then Mirror Earthquake, because that literally dealt 1,000 damage to Crown Towers. So that's why there is Crown Tower damage reduction, kids. Notice anything else? Well, Electro Giant got reworked by decreasing its elixir cost from 8 to 7, but nerfing the stats. No one really used him, he still sucked. Later his HP got buffed by 9%, and then Mirror went like, yeah, let's make the most toxic meta ever. Theoretically, the mirrored Electro Giant had 10% more stats than the pre-rework Electro Giant. So it was worth it to slap 2 Electro Giants on top of each other or opposite lane, and you just watch them do everything. So they reverted the buff in September 2022 because they realized Mirror was the one breaking the cards. Later, just a month, we got greeted with the Monk and Phoenix, and that created the most toxic pay-to-win meta ever. So basically, Phoenix could survive lightning, had double the hit speed of Mega Minion, so Mega Minion got power crept. As for the Monk, it cost 4 elixir, and power crept the Knight. The strategy was simple: Pump, Mirror, Phoenix, Rage, and Monk for the 3-card cycle, or even 2-card cycle, because you use Mirror for the Phoenix or for the Pump. This was always considered the most broken card, as in the Phoenix, if it wasn't for the next card in our list. So what happened to these 2 cards? Well, the Phoenix got subtle, but very important nerfs. but it didn't really die. As for the monk, after a bunch of stat nerfs, his elixir cost got increased from 4 to 5, so his use rate went from 38.5 to about 1.5%. As for the Phoenix, it was 83% at its peak. The next legendary, introduced in June 2024, had the same problem as the Night Witch, a support that acted like a win condition. The Goblin Machine's rockets back then did 30% more damage than an actual fireball instead of arrows damage right now, and it had a 25% faster hit speed. But the real kicker was that the Goblin Machine's rockets had no damage reduction on crown towers, so you effectively had the damage of 2 rockets just for a 5 elixir tank. Effectively, everyone started running Goblin Machine with Mirror and Rage to pump even more rockets, and Elixir Pump, and P.E.K.K.A. became extremely popular because she was the best counter to the Goblin Machine, and there was the Goblin Curse, which did 50% instead of 20% damage amplification, making the rockets actual rockets in terms of damage. The Goblin Machine peaked at an 80% usage rate and a 70% clean win rate, which meant that you could win 3 out of 4 matches if the opponent was not using Goblin Machine. That's how balanced it was. So, what happened? Clash Royale nerfed it, but that wasn't just any nerf. I'm talking the 33% rocket damage nerf, 50% nerf of crown tower damage, and other nerfs. Not to mention it was emergency nerf 2 days after release by making the rocket deal 33% less damage. So that was only the emergency nerfed Goblin Machine. After these nerfs, it had a wonderful 0% usage rate and a fantastic 20% win rate. And now for the still ongoing mirror meta, which includes the reworked Furnace. So basically Clash Royale decided to give Furnace legs, and I still don't know if it's a guy or a girl, and they decided to make it pretty much a musketeer that could back then only be killed by lightning, like before the emergency nerfs. And they gave it an evolution which makes it attack 3 times as fast spawn 3 times as fast while attacking, and that made it hit a 23% usage rate, and the evolution 66% usage rate. Mirror also has a similar usage rate as the Furnace. So, now with the emergency nerf, it actually dies to poison, so now poison is being overused. Despite that, there are even people who run clone and are even having major success with that. I'm just waiting for them to actually, properly nerf it. Average cash grab. If you think I missed out on a major mirror meta, comment down below. Happy to hear your answers, I guess. And that's it for the video. My throat is really hating me right now. See you in the next one.